input tonight? For the record, all members are present. Approval of the September 9th minutes, please. Have a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Bill payment of September 30th, 2019. Voucher number 20191669 through 20191789. A total amount of $279,204.53. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a
Second.
motion? Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, and a second, sorry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Departments. Highway Department, Paul Sigmund. Hi, Paul.
I don't have much tonight. I just want to say most of our major highway work has been done for the year. We're still out doing a little patching, and we have a little shoulder work to do, but bringing that to an end. We will start picking up leaves probably after Columbus Day. I don't like to go out and chase piles. I'd like to see, get a few out there and start on them and stay with them. And just a reminder, like I said last time I was here, once the leaf vacuums go out, the chipper will not be on the road at a steady basis, only when I have manpower available. So that's about it.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Would you check with the Cooper signs on those Purple Heart signs, too?
Yes.
Thank you.
They
Appreciate
told me
it.
it would be 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, great. Thank you. Water Sewer, Richie Donner.
Don't have a whole bunch for you, but we've been out with a camera system lately, and we found a couple issues over behind the mall, so we're addressing those at the present time.
Okay.
And we're also looking at getting our funding from the county sewer district, so I'll be talking with Supervisor McSwan on that and how we're
Great.
going to go about it.
Sounds good.
So other than that, we're out, we're still servicing fire hydrants. We're a little behind this year on that, but
Okay.
all the grinder tanks were serviced this year, and we're on the hydrants now, so.
Great. Anybody have anything for Rich? Thank you, Rich. Mike Rinaldi, Recreation Director. Hey, Mike.
Hello. Got a handful of things. Is this thing not on tonight? I don't know. Handful of things coming up next month in October over at the youth center. First thing we have is our annual Nerf nights. The first one is this Friday, October 4th. The second one will be on Thursday, the 18th. Our open basketball nights for the kids, co-ed. First one this Thursday, the 3rd. The second one will be Friday, the 11th. Following that, we have our monthly movie night. We do have a motion picture license to host videos and movies in our youth center. That one's going to be Monday, October 21st, and the movie will be Toy Story 4. And then the last thing is kind of a new thing that we're trying out. Generally, our age groups are 5 to 12 at the youth center. We tap in to the younger groups mostly with our parties. So we are going to do like a toddler hour type thing. Have the hours a little earlier so our groups aren't mixed. So from 4 to 6 p.m. on 3 Mondays this month, the 7th, the 21st, and the 28th, we will have toddler age 3 to 5 come in and kind of experience the youth center and then kind of get them into our system. And then the final thing, end of the month, Saturday, October 26th, will be our Halloween party. That will run from 6 to 8 p.m. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Anybody have anything for Mike? Thank you, Mike. Constable?
Mike.
Oh, did I miss you, Mike? I'm so sorry.
Wait. No,
I've done that a couple times too, haven't I?
That's the problem. I haven't been here in a while. So,
Yeah.
but this month in your mailboxes is kind of a recap of the last 2 months of the permitting and a current list of the court cases. Excuse me, and also the complaint records. So those are all up to date. You'll see that those things have been pretty we've been pretty active this year when it comes to, violation letters, and grass stuff is just about done now.
I don't know, I cut the grass today and I don't see it stopping.
It's gonna get cold this weekend.
Yeah, I hope so.
Have you any questions?
Yeah, I got one. Complaints. We get your complaint letter once a month. What, if someone has a complaint, but sometimes neighbors don't like to have their name disclosed of who's complaining on who,
Right.
what's our, I guess, rules, or what's your guidelines for
Those
complaints?
are
'Cause some
kept
people,
anonymous.
they
are
can do anonymous? Okay.
correct. Yeah, we ask that there's something in writing to track it, but we don't, if you're complaining about your neighbor, he's
Yeah.
not gonna know that you're the complainant.
Okay.
So those are kept, again, they're privileged information.
Sounds good. All
Anything
set,
else?
Sam? Thank you.
Is that working? I don't need it anyway.
No, you don't.
Thank you.
Constables.
I got a few things tonight from our head constable. A couple things. Our constable department is now on Facebook, so we do have a Facebook page, and we've been getting a lot of positive feedback on it so far. A lot of good comments coming our way. Another thing, hopefully you've seen the speed sign. In this month alone, we moved it several times within the town. We've had residents call and ask for it to be put in their neighborhood or on their street. We're trying to help them with that. And then we've had a lot of calls back to the department saying that they believe that it plays a big difference. People are driving different when that speed sign is in place. So good things going there. On October 5th in Lewiston at our park, there's a walk to end Alzheimer's, and some of the constables will be participating in that. Another thing is the home and business checks. They're slowly coming in, but we are getting them. So if we keep pushing the public and make it aware that it's out there, we can get them filled out, and we'll be there to do those checks. And then training, just we got a lot of upgraded training coming into the department, and getting a lot of positive results. So a lot of good things going on right now. That's all I have, unless you guys have anything.
You know, I want to thank the constable department, and I see Rogers here, not only because of the training and the professionalism and the change in the department, but also the compliments we receive about your community outreach. You guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I got two things. I know along the River Road area, there was about 20 or 30, the sheriff's department was handling some vandalism down there. You know, they had the constables come in and do some evening, afternoon patrols, and being on site, you know, just comforts everyone a little bit. And then about your speed signs, I'm not going to give names, but I had a resident call me up and say, I was doing over the speed limit, and it said the camera was on. Am I going to get a ticket, Larry? So the sign's working. Good
Right.
job.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brent. Kathy has something for us tonight?
Okay, it is budget time, and the 2020 tentative budget has been filed in the town clerk's office on September 30th today, and that copies of the 2020 tentative budget are placed in each of the town board members' mailboxes on September 30th, and will be formally presented to the town board. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Arlene Mandy, seniors. And what was the date on that, Arlene? Yes.
The actual one was May 14th, 1971. So it'll be 2021. That's the actual one. We already got the offer for the...
Okay. Okay.
So it's only one day away. We're trying to remember who was on the recreation committee. It was a commission, I think, at that time. They've all passed away, really.
Yeah, I do. Especially because of my age, right, Arlene? Yeah, I actually have their names and a picture of all of us together, back in the day. Do you have the picture also? Yeah, but I actually have a photograph of the original commission. Mm-hmm. But I'll make sure you get a copy of all the members that were the original Recreation Commission. Anything else, Arlene? Thank you, Arlene. Anybody have anything for Arlene? Jim's over, Wendell.
Hey, good evening. All we have on our agenda for you this evening is our planning board report, and it actually covers the last 4 planning board meetings, just due to the way our meetings have fallen. But they're not long meetings, so we'll start off with our August 7th meeting that was actually canceled because there were no agenda items for it. The next meeting was August 21st, and there were 3 items on that agenda. The first one was a sketch plan for Sanborn Distillery. It's revised. The applicant proposes to construct 2 15,000 square foot buildings for alcohol handling and storage and associated parking and site amenities at 6311 Indicon Drive. That's the westernmost entrance into the Indicon or Vantage Point Park. Alcohol will not be sold at this location. The applicant was advised of several items to include an address on their formal site plan application, including the zoning and overlay district requirements and limitations, coordination of curb cuts with the Niagara County Department of Public Works, archaeologic and threatened endangered species investigations, and the Niagara County Planning Board review. No action was required or taken. The second item was a site plan for Upstate Tower. This is their Buffalo 654 station. It's a cell tower replacement on Shawnee Road. The applicant proposes to remove an existing 145-foot tower at 7263 Shawnee Road and construct a new 165-foot tower in its place. The new self-supporting tower will include a 50 by 50 fenced stone yard in which the tower and equipment cabinets will be located. The project will require variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals, excuse me, and it will also require a special use permit. The Planning Board issued a negative declaration under seeker at this meeting, but that was all the action that was taken. The next item was a site plan for Summit Outlets Phase 1. I think you've heard us talk about this one several times already, but the applicant has again combined the Niagara International Sports and Entertainment project with the Big Thunder Brewery and Sports Bar Dinner Theater project, and is now calling it Summit Outlets. Phase 1A is supposed to be the sports field houses, and 1B is supposed to be the sports bar and dinner theater. A coordinated review under seeker was initiated on this early in 2019, but no action has been taken as significant amounts of requested material have yet to be provided. So there was no action taken at the meeting. They basically came in with some site plans that were very similar to what we've seen, but there is not the required material that the planning board has asked for.
Question on that.
Yes.
Now, what they're doing, Mike, but what they're doing right now in Sears isn't connected with those 2 projects. It is and it isn't?
I don't believe so. It's going in front of the planning board this week. So
these are
I don't
gonna
even
be
know what it is yet.
These will be the domes in the back and using some of the mall?
This phase is the phase 1A and 1B. 1A are the field houses, the 2 big field houses in the back, and they're not domes anymore. They're actually metal buildings.
But yeah.
And the 1B is in the front. That's where the Toys R Us was.
Okay.
And volleyball courts out in the parking lot area. So I have no idea yet. You have to wait till the next summary to get what's going on.
But they started construction, and Sears was sold to the mall owner, right, John?
Yes.
And then the mall owner sold Sears to the same company, Niagara, I forget what that acronym stands for, but NICE?
Nice, Niagara International Sports and Entertainment.
Yeah, so they bought Sears off of the mall owner, and I was by there on Friday or Saturday this past week, and they've already started construction inside Sears.
No, they're removing...
Well, they're removing non-load-bearing walls.
So,
Yeah.
just cleaning out.
Yeah. But that's not part of those 2.
I think it is. I'm not sure what part of it is,
I-
but it is part of the sports complex.
Again, they haven't even been to the planning board
Yep.
yet, so,
Okay.
I imagine it's just for a change of use for the inside of the building, because that's the only thing that requires a site
Yeah.
plan approval, so
Okay,
I'll let you know more after Wednesday.
Yeah, appreciate it.
good.
So then we're on to the September 4th meeting, and there was only one item on that, and it's actually the public hearing for that cell tower replacement. The planning board opened the public hearing, but there was no one present from the public. Near the end of the hearing, one individual arrived but stated that he had no comment and was just there to observe. The public hearing was closed, and the applicant continued conversation with the attendee outside of the meeting. No other action was taken. And the last meeting was on September 18th, and there was one item on that agenda, a sketch plan for 2744 Niagara Falls Boulevard. And per the information reviewed during the work session that the planning board held, the applicant proposes to operate a eyebrow aesthetics business out of the existing building at 2744 Niagara Falls Boulevard. However, the applicant did not show up to the planning board meeting, so there was no further discussion on the topic and no action taken. So that's our two meetings for August and September. Any questions?
Yeah, what is eyebrow aesthetics?
I don't really know. It has something to do with, you're asking totally the wrong person, but I don't know if they weave something through an eye. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. I'd know more if they showed up, but they didn't.
I just, something new. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Thank you. I live a sheltered life.
So do I. It's okay.
That's it, Tim?
Yeah.
Any questions for Tim, guys? Thank you, Tim. Rita, would you like to talk now before we move into our motions and make your brief presentation, please? Rita Contact.
Hey, Brian, you wanna move the flag back just a little? Thank you.
Thanks, Rita. Whoop.
Did you have one more, Rita?
Button pusher? Push my button.
Did you have one more set? He didn't get anything in his folder.
Oh.
I got the empty folder.
It was a test. I don't have an extra one now.
I'll
I can
share
get you one
Kathy,
though.
Kathy,
I'll share with you.
I can hand you mine.
You really don't care.
You can have mine now.
Before we start with the slideshow, a little information. My name's Rita Contact, and I'm a member of what used to be the Wheatfield Enhancement, well, now it's called Wheatfield Enhancement Volunteers. Individuals in this group of volunteers have been members of various focus groups of the Comprehensive Planning Implementation Task Force. For some of them, their goals were either attained, tabled, disbanded, or continue. Art Gerbeck, a former board member, was appointed the leader of the Community Enhancement Focus Group, with Kurt being our board liaison. At our June meeting, other focus group members were in attendance and all discussed becoming a part of the group of volunteers concerned with improving the appearance of our main thoroughfare, Niagara Falls Boulevard, in accordance with some of the goals of the comprehensive plan. After breaking for the summer months, the group met again in September and, with more task force members in attendance, discussed an outline of the items to address. Discussions were also held on rebranding the Community Enhancement Group and renaming it Wheatfield Enhancement Volunteer. The following is a presentation of Phase 1 of our ideas for the enhancement of Niagara Falls Boulevard. These are taken directly from the comprehensive plan. Consider welcome signs at major intersections, gateways along Niagara Falls Boulevard to create an inviting image of the town. Improve the features in the Niagara Falls Boulevard area of the town hall, signage, streetscape, and other physical changes. Consider providing more guidance regarding standards in Niagara Falls Boulevard overlay, particularly for signage, landscaping, and other aesthetic issues.
phase one addresses the signage identifying where people are when they drive through our town. We don't have an identity because we don't have our own zip code. So what we're planning on doing, you can go to the next, is implement phase one. And before we developed what you're looking at, my husband and I counted the poles on Niagara Falls Boulevard on the east side, or the north side, the other side of Niagara Falls Boulevard from where we are. There's approximately 230 poles on that side of the boulevard. Our conception was to have banners created with the Wheatfield seal, the American flag, and special banners depicting certain areas of life in Wheatfield. And these would be placed on every other pole for a 7-pole repeat. This would include about 93 banners. Tom, hard work. Mm-hmm. This is the size of the banner that we're proposing to have placed on the poles on Niagara Falls Boulevard. They're 4 by 5. 2 by 5, yeah, sorry. We have been working with Cooper Sign on getting quotations for 100 of 2-sided 18-ounce vinyl banners that are that size with a 4.5-inch pole pocket at both ends, wind slits, get ready for your next prop, 2 grommets, hardware, and a life expectancy of 3 to 5 years. The basic cost of the banners themselves is $130 each. The hardware, which is on your next slide, is $140 each. The artwork for each of the 5 designs that we're contemplating is $80 a design. And if we choose to have the items installed by the vendor, it's about $55 per sign or per banner. That illustration on your left is a sample of the pole that will go through the top and bottom of the banners. Tom, could you bring that up and pass it around? Material and just a sample. And because we've all experienced the fact that wind on the boulevard has increased over the years, these will come equipped with slots for the wind to pass through so they won't sustain as much damage. There's grommets so that you can secure additionally to the poles. The block-out double-sided vinyl, according to their their literature, is a great solution when you want to have message on both sides of your banner. The block-out layer prevents your graphics from washing out or having the graphic on the opposite side show through. Now, I'd mentioned that we are talking about approximately 93 banners. So we're talking about 31 of the Town of Wheatfield banners, which would contain the corporate seal of the town. There would be 31 American flag banners of a design yet to be determined, and 31 banners comprising 3 designs, all representative of things happening or have happened in Wheatfield. 10 with a sheaf of wheat on it, 11 with a farm tractor, and 10 with airplanes on it. The next slide after this has 2 samples of the Wheatfield seal banners that have been submitted so far. Of course, these are subject to our change and approval. In choosing 10 banners of this type for our pilot program. We determined location for 10 of these banners. You can go back to the previous if you would. Starting at Tonawanda, the Amherst end first. You'll have one at Crescent, Shawnee, Schultz, Nash, Eric, Ward, Whitmer Side, Walmer, and Williams Road. We're working with Cooper Signs on editing the design of the chosen banner for the pilot. We will have to check with the New York State Department of Transportation and National Grid for permit requirements for utilizing the power poles, and we'd like to have Matt work with us to see if he can gain some insight into what we would have to do to make sure we're doing these things in the right way. And then, of course, purchasing the necessary banners, hardware, and determine if the town wants a vendor to install or if we would do it ourselves. The next illustration after this is a kind of a conglomerate of a photocopied of the map of the Wheatfield highway system. And there are small flags that are difficult to see on the screen there, signifying where each of the streets that I mentioned earlier are located. And you can see they're pretty well spaced at intersections, some with lights, so that when people stop and they're sitting there waiting for the light to change, they're actually going to have time to look at something other than traffic and things like that. Next one. The pilot program of 10 banners is more expensive than the larger purchase that was previously illustrated because of the quantity. However, the 10 banners are $130. The hardware remains the same, the artwork remains the same, and the installation remains the same. So the total outlay for this pilot program would be in the area of $3,330. And in our 2019 budget for the task force, formerly known as the task force, we still have $4,000 unspent dollars, and we would like to use this money to attempt to get our pilot program underway. And then the end of this pilot program would be soliciting public input. Any questions?
I guess, obviously what I'd like to do, and I think some of the board members would probably like to do, is sit down with your folks and discuss it before we make any decisions. I think what you've done is great, and I appreciate your effort. But if we could sit down, I think the board members, and talk about this, we could possibly even have some type of contest where the residents or youth in Wheatfield could design a banner that could be used on the boulevard, something to get them involved also. I think it's a great idea. I guess as far as maintenance goes, who would be responsible? Because I know when they had the American flags on the boulevard, they were beautiful when they were nice. And all of a sudden they're becoming torn. We had complaints here, and I wasn't supervisor at the time, but I did work for the town. And I guess one of the questions that I would ask is who will maintain these when they do get tattered and torn? Who's going to replace them? Of course, we still have to get approval from the National Grid and from DOT. And I'm with you, Kurt. I agree. The boulevard really needs to be identified as Wheatfield. And I think it's a great idea, but I'd like to sit down with you folks before we do anything. And I think the other board members, are you good with that? Yeah. So if you want to call me, Rita, we'll pick an evening, and we'll get together, and we'll come up with some ideas. And I think it's a great idea, and I appreciate your efforts. Anybody else have any comments?
Will the vendor that we would be buying these from warranty these for 1 or 2 years? Because there's a lot of wind on the boulevard, and I'd hate to put them up and have them be ripped to shreds in like 6 months and, you know, find out that, well, we said they'd last 3 to 5 years, but it's really windy on the boulevard. I mean, it's, you know, going after some type of a manufacturer warranty or may help, you know, and grants too.
I can
don't-
I can look into that with the, contact that I'm working with
Yeah.
at Cooper. Did the sample make it down to you so that you
I
could
felt it.
feel?
Yeah, it was,
Yeah,
it's
it's
heavy.
quite,
Mhm.
it's quite substantial, and the fact that it's not gonna be flapping in the wind like a flag would be, with the slats cut into it for the wind to penetrate through, should ease a lot of the, damage
Mhm.
that could be done to the banners.
I, mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
What Rita had proposed here was, proceeding with 10 banners. But, you know, as an option, maybe we only do a couple, you know, see how it goes, maybe get it installed on a town-owned pole, you know, and see how it survives the winter type thing.
I think, I don't think 10 is unreasonable to start, to be honest with my opinion. A couple banners probably won't do much of anything because people will just drive right by them. And I know years ago when we had the American flags, we had all kinds of compliments on how nice it was to enter Wheatfield and see the flags until they became tattered and nobody took them down. And it was just because it all happened at one time. I don't have a problem with the 10, but I think we should sit down and talk about it. And Rita, if you give me a call, we'll set something up and talk about maintenance. Will they be up all year round?
They would be all year
All year round. Okay, so little things like that. And I think what you've done is great, and I appreciate your efforts, but I think we should sit down and talk about it. How's that?
I like your idea about opening up the design portion of it to the public, especially on those 3 specialties.
Sure.
Banners, because the, town and people would take ownership then.
Sure. Yeah, I think well, hopefully it'll work out well. So, Rita, if you give me a call, we'll pick an evening, say around 6 o'clock-ish on one evening, and we'll all get together. How's that?
Sure.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rita.
Okay. Matt Brooks, attorney motions.
Thank you. Okay, first of numerous motions, motion to retroactively authorize and approve the Town of Wheatfield Supervisor Don McSwan's approval and signature on a proposed purchase contract offer for the sale of lot number 5 in the town's Whitmer Road subdivision for the proposed offering price, subject to Town of Wheatfield attorney approval, with any conditions deemed necessary by the town attorney.
A motion, please.
So moved.
I'll second it. Motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to authorize and approve Town of Wheatfield Supervisor Don McSwan to approve and sign a proposed purchase contract for the offer for the sale of lot number 7 in the town Whitmer Road subdivision for the proposed offering price, subject to town attorney approval with any conditions deemed necessary by the town attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion to declare the following town computer equipment as surplus, outdated, and scrap, and to be disposed of any way most economically feasible by the town of Wheatfield. A, computers with tag numbers as presented in that line. B, 9 monitors, 5 Dell and 4 HP, all 19-inch. C, an APC power backup, 3 units, model 750, 1 unit, model 600, and 1 unit, model 850. 13 keyboards, and 1 HP OfficeJet 4622.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion, excuse me, a motion and a second. All in
One
favor?
comment.
Yep.
The hard drives on these computers are all scrubbed with, you know, good technique so that if, when they go into the scrapyard or if this electronic company ever resells these things, our data is completely wiped off. They use the Department of Defense, wipe of these hard drives, so they're clean. They won't be able to get any data off of them.
Thank you, Larry. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next motion to resolve the following, whereas the New York State Department of Transportation has agreed to and hereinafter shall undertake the entire scope of work for the Great Lakes Seaway Trail Project, PIN number 5760.75.321, as part of the larger Niagara County Greenway Connecting Trail Project. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Wheatfield shall transfer the Great Lakes Seaway Trail Project along River Road in the town of Wheatfield to the New York State Department of Transportation. As said, New York State Department of Transportation has agreed to take overall responsibility for the Great Lakes Seaway Trail Project, PIN 5760.75.321, and is further resolved that it is affirmed that all past bills for work undertaken by the town of Wheatfield regarding this project have been paid in full, and is further resolved the town of Wheatfield strongly supports the completion of the Great Lakes Seaway Trail Project through the combined efforts of the town of Wheatfield, City of Niagara Falls, City of North Tonawanda, and the New York State Department of Transportation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next motion to approve the firearms discharge permits for the individuals shown on the attached list.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next motion to set the 2019 trick-or-treat hours on October 31st, 2019, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next motion, whereas the Niagara Falls Air Reserve Station is Niagara County's largest employer with over 3,000 full-time and part-time employees and is responsible for generating over $88 million in annual payroll, $168 million in annual economic impact, and plays a critical role in our national security. And whereas in the past the NFARS has found itself at risk of closure through the base realignment and closure process, BRAC, and whereas through an intense and concentrated community effort locally and in Washington supporting NFARS, the closure proposals were reversed, and whereas a persistent threat to any U.S. Air Force installation is encroachment from land uses in surrounding areas that interfere with flight operations, and whereas the presence of encroachments have led to U.S. Air Force bases being closed, and whereas local governments play a crucial role in evaluating and approving land uses and projects, and whereas the municipality of Wheatfield, Lewiston, Niagara, Pendleton, Cambria, and Niagara Falls have all explored the Office of Economic Adjustment program to fund the development of a compatible use plan to protect military installations from encroachment uses, and whereas NFARS and NIMAC leadership have stated that a CUP designed by these communities would be a strong statement to the U.S. Air Force that the community is invested in the long-term viability of the NFARS. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Wheatfield supports funding a compatible use plan through the Office of Economic Adjustment in conjunction with the NFTA, Niagara County, NFARS, for the purposes of coordinating local land use planning to prevent encroachment uses from interfering with at NFARS, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Niagara County Legislature, NFARS, NIMAC, Senators Charles Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, and Congressman, or no longer Congressman, Chris Collins.
I wouldn't want to ask Matt to read that again, would you? I'll make the motion.
One more time.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Next motion, whereas grant monies are available through the New York State Unified Court System to enhance the operation, security, and facilities of municipal justice courts, now therefore be it resolved that the Wheatfield Justice Court is authorized to submit a grant application through the Justice Court Assistance Program to request up to the maximum amount available, and be it further resolved that the town supervisor and town court justices be and hereby are authorized and directed to execute all documents pertaining to the application and acquisition of said funding.
So moved. Second. Motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion from the Budget Director, be it resolved that the Town Board does hereby approve the following 2019 budget transfer for the general fund as follows, and that is as presented on the motion package.
So moved. Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion again by the Budget Director to schedule a public 2020 tentative budget work session for a date in October 2019 at approximately 6 p.m. and the date has to be
I
selected.
think we had October 9th. Yeah. So October 9th is a Wednesday. We have no other meetings that night, so hopefully that'll work for everyone.
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
October 9th it is. 6 o'clock. So moved.
Will that be where the departments come in on
Yes.
different time schedules?
Yes.
Okay.
And Ed, you'll notify the department heads as to it? Okay, thank you. I have a motion, and do we have a second on it?
I did.
Okay, a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next motion again from the Budget Director. Whereas the town superintendent of highways has requested establishment of a capital reserve to finance the cost of various types of highway equipment, and whereas the 2019 highway budget includes a budget appropriation of $75,000 to be transferred to a highway equipment capital reserve, now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to Section 6C of the General Municipal Law as amended, there is hereby established a capital reserve fund to be known as a Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, hereinafter the Reserve Fund. The purpose of this reserve fund is to accumulate monies to finance the cost of various types of highway equipment, and be it further resolved that the Chief Fiscal Officer is hereby directed to deposit and secure the monies of this reserve fund in the manner as provided by Section 10 of the General Municipal Law. The Chief Fiscal Officer may invest the monies in the reserve fund in the manner provided by Section 11 of General Municipal Law and consistent with the investment policy of the town. Any interest earned or capital gains realized on the money so deposited or invested shall accrue to and become part of the reserve fund. The Chief Fiscal Officer shall account for the reserve fund in a manner which maintains the separate identity of the reserve fund and shows the date and amount of each sum paid into the fund, interest earned by the fund, capital gains or losses resulting from the sale of investments of the fund, the amount and date of each withdrawal from the fund, and the total assets of the fund showing cash balance and a schedule of investments, and shall, at the end of each fiscal year, render to the town board a detailed report of the operations and condition of the reserve fund, and be it further resolved that, except as otherwise provided by law, expenditures from this reserve fund shall be made only for the purpose for which the reserve fund is established. No expenditure shall be made from this reserve fund without approval of this town board, and such additional actions or proceedings as may be required by Section 6C of the General Municipal Law or any other law, including a permissive referendum if required by Subdivision 4 of Section 6C, and be it further resolved that the establishment of this reserve fund is subject to the approval of the County Superintendent of Highways.
Just in brief before we put it to a motion, but this is to set money aside for certain equipment in the highway department. And I think as everybody knows that the equipment can be very expensive. Paul, just throw a number at me what the cost of a snowplow is.
Full truck, about $235.
Yeah. So essentially in the Great All, that was how much?
$409.
So what this does is set up a fund to put money aside, so instead of trying to take it out of a single budget to pay for a piece of equipment, we'll put money aside to eventually pay for another piece of equipment. And this way Paul can get trucks every couple of years without having to take a severe hit out of our yearly budget. So that's it in a nutshell. I'll make the motion.
Second on the question. Why do we have to go to the county superintendent of highways? Our budget, and we have to go to the county? Okay. Okay.
Okay. I think we have a motion. Did we get a second on that?
Yeah, I
right?
second it.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, next motion from the Recreation Department to hire Jeff Hasley as the boys' basketball instructor for the Recreation Department at a rate of pay and job term pursuant to the job specifications for the Recreation Department, subject to Human Resource Department approval and a Niagara County criminal background check.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And then there is one final, late motion, it's not in the package, so I'm gonna just briefly verbally, dictate it here. This is an application for rezoning was received to the town for property commonly known as 3641 to 3651 Niagara Falls Boulevard, regarding a request for rezoning from the present R2 to C1. And this motion would be to allow the town board to refer this application to the planning board for appropriate inquiry and recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You know, one of the things, I know that the Johnsburg Fire Company, Gil, you talked about this today, was looking for a resolution for us giving them permission to use the town facilities for their upcoming convention. I know we don't have it in our budget packet. I know they're looking to have something from us. You wanna do that tonight, Gil?
Sure.
I'll make the motion, Matt, maybe you can clean it up for me.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. But we'll have a motion to allow the Johnsburg Fire Company, and Matt can come up with the wording to allow the fire company to use the town's facilities for their upcoming convention as they've used it in the past. So, Gil, you made the motion?
Yep.
I'll second it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I would like to point out we have Jesse Gooch here tonight, our Niagara County Legislature. Jesse, you got anything for us?
Hi, how are you? Yeah, we have a few things from the county that just happened recently. We just got approved for a $2.1 million grant for brand new Scott Air Packs for all firefighters in Niagara County. We just got approved for a $320,000 grant for Gratwick Park for some much-needed upgrades. I actually just got approved a $2,000 grant for the Veterans Memorial here at the Town Hall.
Great.
So we should be able to present that check hopefully in a couple weeks for that.
Great.
And we had our first toxic waste drop-off here a couple weeks ago that myself, Legislator Whittish, and Legislator Godfrey, along with Senator Ort, sponsored. And it was a huge success. So thank you for working with us on that. And we hope to do it again next year.
Sounds good.
That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jesse, I got a quick question.
Sure.
The money for the air packs, will the eight individual fire halls have to fly for that? Or are you just gonna divide it up equally between them?
I'll have to ask them to be sure, but I think you got something?
The grant was
For portables, yeah.
portable radio. And, all the fire companies in Niagara County
Are getting them, yes. Yep, sorry about the wording. Yeah, so that's the big one. We're excited about that. Anything else?
You said portable radios? Yes. Because I know we're looking for some portable radios for the constable department also. Yeah. We've been trying to get them through everybody. Well, we'll keep trying. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Larry Hellwig.
Couple things. Last meeting, I announced that we have a GoFundMe page that I was starting up for the Wheatfield Veterans Memorial. It's been up and active for a couple of weeks now. The only way these pages are successful, though, is we need social media to take over, and people are going to have to like that page, forward it to your groups and your friends. I think to date they've had a couple of hits so far, Tom?
Yeah.
So they've gotten a couple of donations so far, but we're going to need hundreds. So we want to get this thing out on social media, you know, put it on your Facebook account, start liking it, and maybe the donations will increase. But that's all I have. Thank you.
You know, talking about donations, we are accepting donations for our Veterans Monument back here. Anybody that knows anyone, organization or personally, to donate to our organization, Tom Contact is Spearhead and Art Gerbeck, the helicopter restoration, and hopefully this fall we'll have it in place. But anybody would like to donate to it, it'd be greatly appreciated, would help out. Gil Doucette.
I'd just like to congratulate Rich Donner on his 30 years with the town, 30th anniversary. Rich, I thought you were bringing donuts and coffee tonight to celebrate.
That was for you.
How about a speech? Congratulations, Rich.
Absolutely.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Richie. Anything else, Gil?
That's it.
Okay. Kurt Doctor?
Yeah, so it was pointed out earlier, but it's important, so I want to mention it one more time. So the group formerly known as the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Task Force, which is our group of volunteers that works to really, at a high level, make Wheatfield a better place, has been renamed. And I'm really excited about it because it's much easier to say. Wheatfield Enhancement Volunteers. Wheatfield Enhancement Volunteers. I think it's much more descriptive, and it's much more, I would say, forgiving when it comes to decisions that we have to make in the future in terms of what we want to work on. In the past, we were kind of tied to the comprehensive plan. Moving forward, we can kind of make it whatever we like, I think, which I think is great. The second thing, LED street lights. So I think it was our last meeting that we had made the decision to move forward with the National Grid conversion plan. So the next step we have to do is go around and identify what LED power we want for all 433 LED lights. So that's an effort we're going to mobilize on and figure out. But if anybody sees a street light or knows of a street light that they don't feel is the correct power currently, let me know, and I'll take a look at it, and we'll see if we can make an adjustment as part of this plan.
Kurt, why don't you, the 433 are the Cobra style lights.
Yes,
and there are other lights that are called Acorn lights. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, most of our subdivisions that are not on utility poles that have street lights, they're decorative street lights that have a acorn top. Those will not be a part of the plan. I'm only talking about the ones that sort of hang off the pole and have almost like a cobra head look to them. Those are the ones we'll be converting, at least with phase one.
But the acorns will be in a later phase, though, right?
Those hopefully we'll be doing in 2020 at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All set?
That's it.
Thank you, Kurt, for your efforts. Randy Retzloff?
Nothing.
Okay. Thank you, Randy. I have nothing tonight, and except to say that I was on vacation without a cell phone for a week. And the first day was rough, second day was great. And you ought to try it sometime, going without a cell phone. I know it's very difficult, but how nice it was really after a couple of days. So therefore I have nothing, and thank you. Next meeting is October 7th at 7 o'clock, regular town board meeting. And any public input? Anybody has any comments on anything we've discussed tonight? Yeah, come on down, Julie.
Regarding the New York State DOT taking over the Seaway Trail.
Yes.
Where it says resolved that it is affirmed that all past bills for work undertaken by the town of Wheatfield be further resolved. Does that mean that the state paid us back for all of the work that we already did, that we already outlaid for our planning and scopes and stuff like that? We did that.
Leah, if you want to handle this or not, but we were reimbursed for monies that we did put in it, correct, originally? You were here for that.
It was a grant.
Yeah.
So the town was reimbursed for our expenditures.
So was that the 50/50 grant? Okay.
We had to, and whatever money, basically I think what's happened here is whatever money was left over, right, Ed? So there must have been, 700,000, 800,000, I don't know, whatever the balance was, it was like a $1.1 million grant from the Seaway Trail.
My recollection is about $15,000 of bills that have been paid for many years, that we have not received reimbursement for. There is a small amount of bills.
But they're in
Okay.
for reimbursement. Pardon? But they're in for reimbursement, but we haven't received the money back.
So then we paid and got a matching grant, and then from here on out, they're taking over the expense.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
A lot of that money too is coming from the Ralph Wilson.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
one,
remember he's
yeah,
done
like,
a lot with all that.
up to what, 1.5 million, was it? Yeah, I think it was 1.5. Anyone else? Motion to adjourn, please.